Allan Grosvenor has led technology development projects in aviation, energy, and space launch that use some of the world's most powerful supercomputers to invent new tech for NASA, Department of Energy, and DARPA. And he's here with us now. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks, Toby.
Now, you've created a new cognitive artificial intelligence driven assistant named Guru. What does that do? Because that kind of goes over my head a bit.
Absolutely. These days, engineers designing anything from a car, aircraft, even an air conditioner, anything in between are building virtual prototypes on the computer and testing design options and evolving that design before anything's actually physically built.
Yeah.
Uh, the problem is you need to leverage a lot of different types of simulation in order to calculate whether it's going to be manufacturable, lightweight, high performance. There's like 1,000 different types of simulations you should do. And the
Yeah.
problem is that those packages take months to years to learn how to use. So it's prohibitive.
Mm.
And so we built an assistant that enables many more engineers to all of a sudden leverage these powerful tools.
And how does it help them exactly to be able to do this?
So if you're doing this on your own, you need to learn a brand new software package. There's literally 1,000 of them out there because they do all sorts of different specialties. You open up the software package, you navigate the complicated user interface, you make all these different selections, and it ends up taking you hours to set up one new simulation. If you're using Guru, you can actually literally ask Guru with your voice to set up a simulation. Guru will go through a question and answer with you to establish the basic information it needs, and it will do all that manual setup for you.
Wow.
So it's a total game changer.
Yeah. So what actually is artificial intelligence? Because I hear it all the time, and it's never really explained what it is.
Yeah, it's such an important question because in fact, different people would give you a different answer to that question. But here's the way I go about answering that. It started with John McCarthy choosing the term in the 1960s.
Wow.
There were other terms that were used like cybernetics and they just needed a term as a catch-all for everything that fits underneath the umbrella of artificial intelligence. But it's kind of like saying, artificial intelligence is like the catch-all term for many different methods for automation, any kind of intelligent process in computers. And then machine learning is one of the tools, one of the subsets of tools underneath that umbrella. It's like saying we have mathematics as an umbrella, and then calculus is one of the tools underneath that umbrella. That's the kind of difference we're talking about.
So is something like a self-service checkouts a form of artificial intelligence?
Yes, yeah. So those checkouts are using some methodologies from artificial intelligence. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what do you think about artificial intelligence as a threat? Because some people would say it's going to steal all our jobs and it's not going to be anything left for humans to do.
Yeah, a couple hundred years ago, children used to work in factories changing bobbins, and then we realized that instead we should be actually sending those children to school, and the kinds of jobs like changing bobbins ended up being automated. I think there's going to be a lot of that, and we're going to realize, oh my gosh, there are some jobs that we can automate, but then as a society, we need to give services like school to those people that used to do those jobs. There are, I think, a much greater number of jobs that will be augmented by artificial intelligence, where people will be able to do radically more in their job, and they will spend less time doing the arduous parts and more time and more focus on doing the interesting parts of the job as a consequence of artificial intelligence.
So what other benefits are there of artificial intelligence to me, for example, maybe just the average person living their day-to-day lives, how will it impact them?
Uh, something that I always go back to is something that I am endlessly fascinated by, even though I've been living it for a while now. The fact that your mobile phone has the compute power of the world's most powerful supercomputer 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And furthermore, the world's most powerful supercomputer 10 years ago had the compute power that you can now rent in the cloud. Wow. Everybody listening to this interview can go on the cloud to the different cloud service companies and rent compute time, and it's not that expensive, and have access to compute power that used to be, just 10 years ago, the world's most powerful supercomputer. The reason that I give you that example is that you have AI capabilities on your mobile phone already that you don't even know that you're making regular use of. There's going to be more and more of that, and it's going to just make your life easier. You're going to be able to do more and more powerful things on your own.
They say, don't they, that there's more technology in your phone than what took people to the moon 50 years ago?
Yeah, that's true. I invite everybody to go back. You can find it on YouTube. You can find movies, like videos about the engineering that went into the moon landing and the computer systems. And, the difference now is a lot of people can be really sloppy in what they're building and putting on those phones because there's so much compute power, as opposed to the beautiful precision engineering that they had to do in order to fit the kinds of instructions they needed to enable on those very limited compute systems. So while what you just said is true, also it's like Swiss watch engineering what they did with those computers for the moon landing.
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort, I suppose, and back then it would.
And this amazing, highest quality, like world-class engineering skill.
Absolutely. Now, you've got an equity crowdfunding campaign. Is that for the Guru project as well?
That's correct. Yes. So we have been funding Guru with our equity crowdfunding campaign on the Start Engine campaign. So it's startengine.com/MSBAI, which is spelled MSBAI. So Mike Sierra Bravo Alpha India. And the reason that we've been doing that way is ultimately the outcome of Guru is going to make a lot of people's lives better. And we want everybody that's interested to be able to participate in this. And we're extremely excited. We already have a very exciting community that we've built on Start Engine, and we're asking people to join us.
And how much are you looking to raise for this project?
So our current raise is $1 million. So $1.7 million is the limit on this campaign, and we're about a third of the way there right now.
Yeah, so that's good progress. A third of the way.
Yep, it's going well.
Maybe in the future, when AI takes over, all these AI people can just donate all the money. The AI takeover, I think, is going to be a lot more boring than people like. I've heard some people suggest that we're maybe 100 Nobel Prizes away from an AI that can take over. AI can do a lot right now, but it's very specialized and segmented. So AI can do something very powerful in a very niche area. There is no AI that's able to generalize. So a system that can think for itself and make any decisions of a type that you would start worrying about an AI takeover.
many new discoveries have to happen in order for that thing to start becoming true.
So it's kind of like having a president or any world leader that is only able to make decisions on health and nothing else.
Yeah, for example, that's right. Or, a plumber, highly trained in plumbing, but can't balance his checkbook.
Yeah.
Or, conversely, an accountant who's awesome at balancing his checkbook, but can't fix plumbing to save his life.
Yeah.
These are specialists in one area. And actually, AI is even one step, or actually several steps less sophisticated than that, because you actually have to give it a lot of help to even get it started on any specialized task.
Yeah. How was it that you first started to get interested in all of this?
It began as a tool in my toolbox. I am an aerospace engineer. I've been working in aerospace for more than 20 years. I've worked in aviation and space launch and also energy.
Mm.
The common theme throughout my career has been I've been very blessed to work on some extraordinarily complicated, cutting edge engineering projects. And I was very lucky in many of these projects to have access to supercomputers.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you're running many different types of simulations on supercomputers to solve hard engineering problems, artificial intelligence methods are tools you need to use to actually make that whole thing work.
Mm.
You have to do an insane amount of, you have to build intelligence and automation into every part of your workflows to actually get anything done, because otherwise you can run a lot of things on the computers, but it won't mean anything, and you
Yeah.
won't actually be able to take advantage of what you've generated.
Yeah. Are there any other flaws with artificial intelligence? Like maybe does it ever just come up with errors when you're trying to use it, like a lot of computer systems?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, there's many different types of artificial intelligence.
Mm.
Machine learning is something that a lot of people have heard of, and that's learning from data, fitting some kind of model to data, whether that be a neural network or like a regression model, or a probabilistic model, something else. You're fitting a model to data, and in those kinds of cases, the quality of that model and the how far you can trust it is only as good as how well you trained it. So if the boundaries of the data that you gave it to train are pretty narrow, and then you try to apply that model to something that resides well outside of those boundaries, it's probably going to make a bad prediction, and it's going to fail. And there are other types of artificial intelligence where you have similar kinds of problems. And so it comes down to the practitioner, the person that set it up, and the person who's operating it has to understand what its limitations are, because otherwise, there's going to be all sorts of problems.
Yeah, so still a bit of human error can cause those problems then. Maybe we
Yeah.
need an AI to control the AI.
Well, actually, so that's the interesting thing about Guru is Guru is a hierarchical AI system, that's actually a hybrid AI system, very very much in that way.
Yeah.
So it's literally it has an AI piece that builds new AI that enables it to learn. It has an AI piece that drives the modules of AI below it that know how to do specialized tasks. And there will be more and more systems, hierarchical AI systems like this.
Do you feel like driverless cars is a good idea? Because that seems to be something that you hear about all the time, and whether or not it's going to happen.
It's happening. I'm in Southern California, and you see them here, and you see them in Arizona next door. And so it's not asking the question, will it happen? It has happened, and it's going to continue happening. I mean, in Southern California, there's a lot of people driving Teslas and using the driverless function on a regular basis already.
Yeah.
and it's getting more and more powerful. Obviously, like highway driving, like normal, clear weather driving on a highway generally works pretty well. And but when things get squirrely, or when you're on city streets, and you have like a lot of different bicycle traffic and stuff like that, and different types of lanes, then it becomes more complicated, and they need to do a lot more work to get that perfectly working. But I think it's already happening. It's already being demonstrated, and I think we're going to get used to it.
Yeah.
One other thing that I've started to see, that people are also getting used to is robotic delivery. I was just out Friday night, and a little delivery robot went by on the sidewalk.
That's weird. I've heard of Amazon doing drones. I still haven't seen any, but I've seen them in kind of adverts, I think. A robot, that must be kind of creepy.
It was kind of humorous.
Yeah.
Like, these are, cute little harmless robots that you could, if you wanted to, you could just like kick over. So, it's not that ominous really, but so we're going to see more and more of that. But I was out in Los Angeles just the other night and saw it firsthand.
It's good for these COVID times though, because you don't have to come into contact with an actual person when you get your delivery.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people want deliveries, and so it's just another way to get it out sooner.
Yeah. How safe would you feel going in a driverless car at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Tesla drivers are told that they have to have their hands at the ready to take the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And it's because, it's not foolproof, and it's we don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, actually, there's never any foolproof. However, at the same time, Autopilot has been flying planes for a very long time. So when you fly on a plane, you are in a driverless vehicle. And for most of the flight, it is driverless.
Yeah. But I suppose the other side of that is when you're in the sky, there's nothing to hit into, whereas in the car, it's a lot more precise, isn't it? Which I suppose would be a little bit more complicated to design.
Yeah, there's birds, there's other planes, there's mountains, there's balloons, but indeed there is less traffic, generally, for sure, and the flight paths are prescribed and managed by air traffic controllers, so it's more predictable. But no question. So one thing I'll never tell anybody is that AI is some kind of panacea. To me, AI is one of many tools in a toolbox that can help us do a lot more with computers. One of the reasons I really like to use that cell phone, having the compute power of supercomputers, like the most powerful supercomputer 25 years ago, is to just emphasize the fact that like we are at a moment in human history like no other, and it's changing very quickly. Like we keep on getting more and more compute power, like no one even really expected, and it's gotten to the point that the actual workload, like both the cognitive workload of a human and also like just the manual workload of setting things up to use those computers, is actually takes more time for us personally than the computers take to actually run things. And so as a consequence, actually we need AI to actually harness those computers to do what we want. Something that I'm really excited about as an application is renewable energy. So there's brand new renewable energy that we need to bring online, and we need to radically increase the performance of. And so we're very excited about that we are working on with Guru is using this AI layer between human and computer to radically increase the rate at which we are able to go through design cycles of energy efficiency, green energy, renewable energy technologies, so that we can get to brand new solutions that we need as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's the way forward, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I think a really important application that we cannot waste time on. We need to make as much progress in it as soon as possible.
Yep. Well, where are we able to help donate to your crowdfunding campaign for this?
Please join us at startengine.com/MSBAI. So start, START, engine, ENGINE /MSBAI.
Great. Are you anywhere on social media where we can see everything else and see how the project is going?
Yes, we are on all the social media. Probably the easiest way to find us is just by typing MSBAI. So you can just actually type msb.ai, and that'll take you to our website, or choose your favorite search engine and type MSBAI and Guru, and you'll get to us.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Toby.